Hey Otakus, what's up? It's just winding down the week, getting ready for another work week, and I just thought it'd be fun. We have that CGC package coming. I'm really excited about that, so excited to unbox it. Maybe I'll go live, maybe I'll just tape it, but irregardless, you are going to see the actual unboxing. I haven't looked at the grades yet. I don't know what they are, so we'll reveal the grades as we open the package. So that should be a lot of fun, and we'll look at the books that I submitted. I'm not gonna. I mean, if you go back and watch my videos, you'll know. You can possibly glean what books those might be, but just to kind of heighten the surprise factor, I'm not going to reveal what those 3 books are. It's a small CGC unboxing, three comics, but they're near and dear to my heart because they're part of my original collection. Most of these books that I picked up here that you see are all from the past year that I picked up, because we got back into the hobby. But there are a few books, especially the CGC slabs that I have behind these, that are from my original collection from when I was younger, back in the day. And these are books that I either actually pulled from the comic shops when they came out, so off the rack, or they're like wall books I got at my LCS. And the 3 books that are coming back, 2 of them I bought off the racks, and 1 I got as a wall book. So it'll be interesting to see the grades on that. But I thought it would be fun to, just as we anticipate that to come, because that's going to be a big highlight. We've been waiting for these books for almost a year, about 10 months. It's been at CGC for about 10 months. 10 months. And what we're going to do is we're going to look back at the past couple of hauls that I've done, the haul videos that I've posted, and we're just selecting books, the book of the haul from the past 10 hauls I've done. And these are the more significant hauls that I kind of left out some of the minor hauls where I didn't really pick anything up. Sometimes I go out and I pick up 6 books, but they're all like just kind of mediocre books. So I focused on the past 10 hauls where we picked up something significant, something that I'm proud to show off, and so that's what we're going to do. And I didn't do them chronologically. I didn't arrange them chronologically, but I did arrange them in terms of kind of significance to my collection. They're all, these books right here that I'm going to show are all sort of near and dear to my heart. I consider them Oonmyeong books. Oonmyeong books meaning, it was fate that these books entered my collection. So I was kind of destined to meet these books out on the hunt. I had absolutely no clue that this would happen, but you go out, you see a book, and you're like, wow. And that's Oonmyeong. It's kind of like you're on a path, and that path takes you to the book. And that book is also on a path. That book is on a path to you. So you're both. It's when two objects collide, that's kind of how I approach the hunt. So they're very special. Like it to me, these hunts are not just like me going out and buying books. It's more one of those things where, like, you're looking and you're looking, and wow, this book kind of pops up and shows up, and it enters your collection, and it never really leaves. And these are the books that I'm highlighting. Not every book is like that, and again, if it's a book, it could be the book of the haul, but it could be a book that I'm wanting to flip or sell. I don't consider that an Oonmyeong book. That's just like, I think a great example of that would be the Catwoman I just traded recently. That's like a $200 book. I got it for like half cover for like $2, $1.50 maybe. And but I wouldn't consider that necessarily an Oonmyeong book. I mean, it's Oonmyeong that I got the book, but if it's going to leave the collection, or I want to sell it to get another book, it's not Oonmyeong, because it's not like we're destined to be together and then destined to I guess part ways. So that to me is, I wouldn't consider an Oonmyeong book. An Oonmyeong book is like PC quality. It's like something you find for the PC, and it's never leaving. So I'm sure a lot of you can kind of identify with that. And again, it's not necessarily I take that back. So there are some books in here that are not, they're questionably Oonmyeong, and we'll go into that. So when I hit those books, I'll point them out. I'll say, okay, this is not an Oonmyeong book, or this is kind of in that shady gray area of Oonmyeong books, and I'll open it up for debate. But either way, most of these are my Oonmyeong books. So let's get into them. So the first book we're starting off with is this great Spidey Super Stories 16. Love this book. The reason I love it is because it's John Romita Sr. cover, and I love John Romita Sr. art. I wish I could collect more of it. That's something I may focus on. It's just, it's one of those things where it's pricey, and if you're going to commit to a book, you want to get it in a certain grade, and you want to get it, certain key books, the ASMs. So, and those books are just, every Spider-Man movie that comes out just pushes those prices higher. They're definitely high in demand. You go to comic shops and you dig through like a Bronze Age or like Silver Age run of ASM, and it's pricey. So especially John Romita run is solidly early to, it's pretty much solid or Bronze Age books. And again, you have to pay a pretty penny for them. I mean, they're still affordable, relatively affordable. I mean, they're not like Grail type prices. You're probably paying in the hundreds for most copies. You can probably get low grade for like around 100 for a lot of those key books. But it's just, again, that's still a lot of money. But that doesn't change the fact that we want those books. But it's just one of the things, like, just gotta be patient, gotta be lucky. Like in this instance, I believe I paid like a $1 for this. It did have a price on it, but it was really like cheap. It wasn't half a cover because I got this at like the Shoreline half price books, and there's a guy there that prices everything, so you know he generally has, I mean he prices them just kind of like on a book like this, you know, he realizes it's worth more than, you know, like what is it, 17 cents, so he'll price it like he'll price like $1 or $1.50. So I think I picked this one up for like $2 or $3 or something like that. Happy to do it. It's just a great movie poster type homage comic book as well. And not only is it great John Romita senior art, it's pretty cool Jaws homage as well. So very happy to pick that up. All right, I guess next on my list would be, I got 2 copies in the same. Ironically, I went out and hit a few LCSs, and I initially picked up one of these for like $5, and then I picked up a second copy for $3. Both around the same grade, but happy to pick up both. And this was just shortly after you know, Neil had passed, so we were kind of on the lookout for anything Neil, and luckily we found this beautiful cover, Superman 307, and it's just a great cover of Supergirl dropping the city of Candor, the bottled city of Candor, and Superman freaking out there. Beautiful cover. Beautiful Neil Adams cover right there. Doesn't get better than that. Boom. So that was another book of the haul. We picked up 2 copies. I mean, talk about Oonmyeong. You know, if something isn't Oonmyeong, when you run into it twice and you pick it up twice at 2 different locations on the same day, that's about as Oonmyeong a book as you can get. So love it. Next, we picked up this book, and you know, modern books aren't like, they're not so Oonmyeong in the sense that, you know, oftentimes you go to an LCS and you're going to see modern books there, right? You're going to see a slew of modern books because they're just hot off the press and they're just sitting in the boxes, multiple copies. So it's not, doesn't feel like it's Oonmyeong, but I'd like to think this Electra, this Peach Momoko Electra, and I were destined to be together, and so it definitely feels like Oonmyeong. I love this beautiful cover, so beautiful. Colors, that pose with the sword, man. Electra. All right, so yeah, that's number. So we've covered 3 so far, so that would be number 10, 9, 8 is number 8 on the list. Next, sticking with Neil, we picked up this beautiful copy of World's Finest. This is the round 3 of the Flash Superman race with with Batman holding the finish line. Which is pretty funny because if they're like seriously like going at the speed of light, right? It's not like Batman would be a judge of like a visual judge of the race. Some of these are just, you know, like this age was still pretty funny in that sense. You know, this is around the late silver, early bronze age. Another beautiful Neil Adams cover, and again, picked this copy up for $6. So that, I mean, it's a pretty beat up copy, but that cover presents so well, and it's not like we're ever going to open up this book or anything. It's in this top loader. It's staying in that top loader just to be admired for the art. We may get slabbed at some point. I mean, it's not really slab-worthy grade, but I think if we did get this graded, it'd probably get like a 3.5. It's in that 3.5 range. So no real desire to get slabbed, no need to get slabbed, just it is sort of a lower grade copy, but it's like just beautiful. As a comic, like we're talking about comic book covers, doesn't get any more classic than that. And talking about classic, like Silver Age covers, number 6 on our list is another beautiful cover by Mike Sadowski. This is the last book he did on this initial early Justice League of America run. So he started from Justice League of America 1 all the way through, this is number 63. So he did pretty much all the artwork for that entire run, and this is his last cover, last work on the book. And what a beautiful cover it is. It shows just Superman standing, towering over the Justice League. And the thing about this, I'm actually going back and reading these early Justice League of Americas. They're really entertaining. So they're just a classic read, classic. But one thing you notice is like Superman isn't really that engaged in the Justice League. He kind of just shows up from time to time. It's really heavily revolves around like the Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Batman occasionally, but you can tell like because Superman and Batman are so popular with their own titles, they're kind of there as like, hey, we're part of the League too, and we help decide things from time to time, but we're just busy with our own things. So these sort of minor superstars are really the head of the Justice League, and so but that all changes in this in this issue where Superman's like, no, don't sleep on me. I'm the leader of this bunch. A little bit of context. I picked this book up in this sort of a massive, like I think 26 book haul, and at the time there were probably other books that I valued. In that video I probably pointed out, well, these are the books I would consider the book of the haul. But the more time went by and the more I realized this book was the book that just was most endeared out of that haul. Like I look back now, some of the books I pulled in that, they're nice books, don't get me wrong, and they're PC books, but yeah, this definitely, this book is the book of that haul in hindsight. And I just fall more and more in love with this book every time I just look at it. It's a beautiful cover by Frank Miller. Yeah, I mean, just the end. You talk about classic covers here. Nothing. And what I love about this particular copy is it's a 9.8 candidate. It's absolutely pristine and flawless. And so I was going to send this book in my last submission and make it a 10 submission book haul. I wish I had. I don't know why I didn't. I think my wife would have she had, allotted me that budget to submit 10 books. But I just felt guilty spending so much in one submission. I just said, and you know what, like, if this came back like a 9.6 or 9.4, I just would have been devastated. So I just kind of like took this one out reluctantly. but I honestly think this is a 9.8. This, it's gotta be. It's so flawless, especially with this black here. It's just super clean. Yeah, it's a really clean book, and we got this so cheap. I just couldn't believe how cheap this book was. I think I got it for like under $10, but just absolutely incredible. So that's this is definitely an Oonmyeong book. Really happy to get that. Okay, so the next couple of books are not Oonmyeong books. So this next one is not an Oonmyeong book, it's because I found it on, I believe it was Mercari. I got it. It was a Mercari. I actually looked for this. I looked on eBay. I just got bit by the bug. I was like, okay. This was just like a couple weeks after the news, like Superman had sold for the record, amount for a comic book, and it had retaken the lead as the most expensive comic book. The Superman 1, I believe. Or no, was it Action Comics? No, Superman 1. Yeah, Superman 1 took over. No, it was Action Comics. Action Comics was the one that sold. And Superman also sold for like a record amount. So it was like Action Comics and then Superman were the two highest valued comic books sold. Hands down, I don't disagree with that. That Superman is the book of comics, and come on, there's an argument there. But like, I was just like, I'm never gonna own the actual book, so the best thing is to go out and get a Jim Lee COA. So there's like a Jim Lee signed COA, not like physically, literally signed, but just like one of those print signed. Like, this is the official DC reprint. It's as close to an original reprint as you can get. I think the only thing missing is like the price or something like that. Pretty much an actual reprint of the original. But it's minty fresh. I just feel like I own Action Comics when I look at this. So it's the next best thing. And so it's not technically Oonmyeong because we didn't run into it in a haul. I did go out and look for it, and I bought it, but it's not going anywhere for sure. And that's the case for this next book as well. We went on and got this book, and I don't regret getting this book. I don't regret getting this book at all. I think I got it for like just a little under $50. It's a high-grade book. There are just a few issues, but I still think with everything, with all that's said and done, it's like a 7.0 copy with a press definitely higher. Presents beautifully. It's a beautiful cover. I think this is a hugely undervalued book, because I honestly think we'll see. They won't come out and say Fantastic Five, but we'll see Spider-Man and Fantastic Four join forces on film somewhere, and we'll see this kind of like, we'll see a version of this where everybody has their hands out like five, and they're coming into the screen. I honestly think that'll happen because movie people love stuff like that. And that's what the execs know. The execs know that comic fans want this to come, and they want to see it on screen. And it may come in a what-if series, but I think it'll translate best on film. Like in a movie. So we'll see what happens. A little speculation on my part, but either way, it's the first what if. It's such a classic book. You're going back to ASM number 1, where the what if is like, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, because he infiltrates their base and he ends up just going home because they didn't pay a salary. He thought, oh, they're going to pay me this salary, but they don't pay a salary. Like they're a non-profit. It's just a weird story by Stan. It's just funny. It's a funny story, but it's sort of randomly weird. Okay, so I guess the last 2 books were sort of, I guess, not Oonmyeong books in the sense we went out and actually picked them up. So that includes this one. This one we picked up, and we picked up. Now, I wasn't looking actually to buy this. I wasn't looking online to say, oh, I want to look at Jim Lee's Stan Lee signature books. Because I mean, if I wanted to, I could go on there and go on and find books now. There are actually a lot of Jim Lee and Stan Lee signed books, surprisingly. People, for example, a lot of people got this run signed by both gentlemen, or different iterations of like X-Men, or anyway, there's a lot of Jim Lee, Stan Lee signatures. I think the fact that they share the last name might have something to do with getting them to both to sign it. There's some collectability there, I guess. But anyway, if you want to get a book like that, you can. You can go right now on eBay. They'll have Jim Lee, Stan Lee signed books you can get. And I have sort of notifications on Mercari and eBay on certain things that I find, like that I want to keep track of. So if they pop up and the price is really good and I have money, it's like I'll pull the trigger on a good deal. Can't do that these days, but I had some money, like birthday budget money type stuff. And I had my eye, I was on the lookout for anything. I actually was going to get this Mike Zeck signed book. It was still there, really good price. But I passed on it to get this book. But when this book came up, go back to the haul video and hear the story. It's when I got it for the price I got it at, I was just like, wow, and again, it's a Jim Lee and Stan Lee signature book. It's a 90s Jim Lee signature right there, and then boom, classic Stan Lee signature right there. And the thing about Stan Lee signatures is like, I think not all signatures are the same. Signature is a signature, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, even if the janky signature, it's still a signature, right? And so you got to respect that whoever was working on that book, and if they signed it, it's going to add value to that book, no matter what. But in terms of aesthetics, there are like there are things where it's like scrawl versus like a clean, like that's a classic Stan Lee signature. And I've been fortunate to pick up, I have 2 Stan Lee signatures books, and both signatures are really like sharp, clean signs. This one included. Let me just try to show you what it looks like there. You just got that flare there. That's just a classic Stan Lee. The Lee pops out. This looks sharp. It's not janky. So, the story on this one, it's actually a pretty kind of sad story. The guy who ended up getting this book had it sold to him by somebody who had to pay for their cancer treatments and eventually passed away. So it was the guy picked up this collection as sort of like, I guess as a favor to somebody he'd been in that selling community. He sells toys one of his colleagues was selling comic books, and the guy basically sold him the whole collection. He got it at he paid a fair value to this guy, but this guy was going through late stage cancer treatments and just basically sold his entire collection. And this guy still hangs on to that collection, but he's been like kind of selling books now, 20, almost 30 years now removed from that. But this guy had collected like Stanley, Jim Lee, all kinds of signature books. And so, I did reach out to him to get the story of the book, and he shared it. And it was just a really remarkable story. And I do treasure the book because, it was somebody's treasured book as well, as it should be. It's people who are in this hobby, people who collect books. This is sort of our unspoken bond. These books, how special the hobby is, and the passion that we share. So I just feel like there's this link to the past, this past person who had this book, that we shared this, and he just got two perfectly placed signatures on this book. Absolutely fabulous copy. Now it'll be a treasured part of my collection for as long as I'm around. So just happy to have picked this book up. So this one technically is kind of Oonmyeong in that sense that it wasn't like I was looking for it, but it found me through this online notification link. I found it and I kind of just said, hey, would you take this offer? And they took the offer, and then I got the story and the whole, it just was, I think this qualifies as Oonmyeong in that sense, because it's not like I was going out to specifically get this book. We were missing, this was the last of the 5 covers that I was looking for. So when it came up again with that price, when he offered the price when he accepted the price I offered, I just had to get it. So boom, we have it. All right, and then this is a recent ad, and I just want to show this book off again. I just love it. For me, this book here represents the book I want to own in my collection by her. And I'm actually let me backtrack. And this is the thing. I'm confident I'll get. So she has 2 sketchbooks, original art sketchbooks that she published in Japan. Okay, and I don't know if they're necessarily collectibles in Japan. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I'm fairly confident on my next trip to Japan, because we go out there to see family. On my next trip to Japan, which is going to be, I think, next year, like either winter or summer of next year, we're going to hunt for those Peach Momoko sketchbooks. We're going to hunt. We're going to go to Kinokuniya, which is this Book Off, which is this used bookstore, huge used bookstore all across Tokyo. They had got like a good jillion locations in Tokyo. So we're just going to hit a bunch of book offs, and I'm just going to come with the photos and say, hey, I'm looking for this book. Let the staff do all the legwork. They'll find it for me. I'll buy them, and I'm going to add those original Peach sketchbooks. And I'm going to bring back multiple copies, so they're probably, I'm going to have some for the PC and then definitely have some to sell. And I'm hoping I can pick them up on the cheap. But I definitely would pick them up cheaper than I would pick them up here. I just have an inkling of confidence that she's not very well known out there, because out there she's just like one among a great number of talented artists. Whereas here she really stands out because she's just so talented in our like comic book medium. But if you put her in the manga medium, she's just kind of like, yeah, that's nice. That's artistic and creative, and you know you're definitely talented and skillful. But there are all these hundreds of already established manga creators who are really well known, really popular, and have millions of followers, like oohing and ahhing over what their work is collectible. So it's really a different market. So that's why I'm confident I can find these Peach Momoko sketchbooks in Japan, because it's just not the same. Unless there's Americans going there in droves and doing this and buying up all the Peach Momoko books, which I don't see happening all that often. I'm sure there are collectors like who make that trip just for that book, but I will specifically be looking out for that, and I'm going to bring back as many copies as I can afford. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, back to this book. First work in story in comic books. Beautiful Frank Frazetta artwork on this modern comic, but it just feels, because this is a Frazetta painting that he did from 1978. It just has that like old school heavy metal, you know, like feel to the book. You know, like it's from the 70s or from when this run started. So that's why I love this book. It just has this sort of like timeless classic, you know, you got the pretty much death on a horse, right? with a axe that's clearly for, you know, to go for jugulars and you know, lop off heads. So yeah, I'm not sure what the title of this painting or piece is, but probably, you know, has death in it somewhere. So but yeah, again, it's just a significant book because of the first Peach work in American comics. And so yeah, I know, you know, like it's not your like quote unquote typical comic book, and it's not like I'm trying to collect magazine size books or anything like that, but if something like this comes along, you just got to pick it up because of for its significance. What's on the other side of this? Another treasured book. I love this book. It's the San Diego 50th anniversary of San Diego Comic Con. It's a guidebook. We'll end with that one with some good old Jim Lee. And surprisingly, but like for example, like in this haul, Jim Lee, we had 3 key books in this Peach Momoko haul. Those 3 books could have been the book of the haul on any given day on any other haul, but they just happened to be part of the, you know, a book that was in this haul. So you know, as major as those books are, in fact, we got the books right here. I can show them off right here. This is one of them. Boom. Yeah, let's go back to the last haul video and you'll see which books I'm referring to in terms of the Jim Lee keys. But yeah, I mean, you know, a haul is a haul, so you gotta keep it in the context of that haul. If you're going out hunting books and you pick up and you say, okay, this is the haul that I just brought back, and you're sharing with the community what's in that haul, that's that haul. It has its own identity, it has its own, you know, diversity of books. It's really its own sort of character of the haul. And definitely this last haul I got, it's just significant. Yeah, just so many great books in that last haul. I don't know if I can top the last haul. And shout out to I don't think Comic Wanderlust is the guy I traded my Catwoman for the 3 Jim Lee books that we picked up. And he actually got my book and he sold it already. He sold it. He told me like he sold it. So kudos to that. I didn't realize he was gonna like trade, get that big book and sell it. I'm sure he could have sold the Jim Lee keys too, but it's just a weird way to go about it. But anyway, he sold it. Kudos to him. Go out and check his Instagram. It's comic_wanderlust, WAN. I'll link it down below. Because he's got a lot of great he's bundling and selling comic books at like really low prices, like really discounted prices. So if you're kind of in the market to buy or just pick up books, like key books for cheap, go check. I mean, they're all claim, so go do it now because they're being claimed as we speak. I think right now one of the sort of challenges for him is to have sort of a larger reach of people seeing his stuff every day to get that claim ball rolling. I know he has this Punisher bundle. I already commented, I was like, dude, if I had $35 I would pick this up. I know that's going to be gone soon because the price on those Punisher books are just, I mean, yeah, it's a great price. So again, go check out his channel, follow him, and buy some books if you agree that those are deals. Hop on that and get those books. All right, that does it for me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.